What's up, Knights of Vex, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will be talking about essential GAC Omicrons that you can apply to your roster at any stage of the game. I've been playing this game for a while, and I've been playing GAC for ever since it started, and these Omicrons have lasted with me from the beginning until the end, and that's why I'm going to recommend them for you guys to apply whenever you get these characters available or at relics. Again, these are all my opinion. If you don't agree, let me know in the comments, but I use these guys all the time, whether in 3v3, 5v5, with any of the Datacron sets. These Omicrons have always got me out of a pinch. So before we get into the Omicrons, if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, don't forget to hit that sub button. It really helps us grow, and I appreciate the support. With that being said, let's go into the list. So starting in at number 1, I'm going to be recommending Qui-Gon Jinn's Leadership Omicron, where he just applies so much extra stats to the Jedi with the extra speed, and then they get so much offense when he goes down. This Omicron is great on defense, and it's also really good on offense. I've been able to take down General Skywalker with this Omicron. Sometimes I'm able to take out Darth Revan or other crazy teams. And if you have Ki-Adi unlocked, it makes it even more dangerous. But once you pair him with Jedi Knight Anakin and Ki-Adi, the team is insane. It's very hard to take out in 3v3. I personally like to do mirror matches against Omicron Qui-Gon Jinn because it's so difficult to take out. But this was one of the first Omicrons I applied. I highly recommend it. It's one of the first you can apply early game. Qui-Gon Jinn is very easy to unlock. Jedi Knight Anakin is very easy to unlock. He doesn't need to be super high relic for this to work. Jedi Knight Anakin is where the real damage comes from. So if you're early game, don't worry about the relics or the high gear on Qui-Gon. It will work perfectly, and it even works later on in Kyber 1. So definitely recommend Qui-Gon Jinn for your, one of your first Omicrons. Next up on the list, I have to recommend Starkiller, and he is definitely one of my favorite characters in the game in terms of Grand Arena. Just being able to pull the Star Destroyer out of the sky and take out Galactic Legends and other crazy teams. Whenever you get this guy unlocked and you have him at relics or not relics, you gotta apply the Unique, where he just gains so many stats. This allows him to take out Galactic Legend Rey and other really good teams. Even sometimes you can take out Kylo Ren if you have a certain comp. Team is phenomenal. Without a doubt, Starkiller will be used from the beginning until the end of Grand Arena. Useful in Kyber 1, Rhodium, Bronzium. Absolutely an essential Omicron. The other ones are more luxury. Definitely helpful in certain scenarios. Like I applied the one on the AoE for the buff removal right here. It's helpful in certain situations, but by no means is it an essential Omicron. But if you guys have him available and he's at relics, you gotta apply the Unique. It's game changing. Next up on the list, I have Darth Traya in, and she is amazing. Absolutely amazing. This character has been able to get me out of so many pinches with her Omicron, and spoiler warning, she pairs really well with SWGOH Opress and his Omicron, which is also on this list. I'm able to take out Jar Jar Binks with his crazy Datacron with Traya. Before she was reworked or she got slight nerfs, she was able to take out Lord Vader. But absolutely an amazing character. The Omicron is definitely essential for Grand Arena. It just helps you take out a number of teams, and it makes her pretty strong on defense. With a certain comp, you almost require a Galactic Legend to take her out with her Omicron. So without a doubt, whenever you guys get her unlocked, I highly recommend applying this Omicron. Definitely game changing for Grand Arena. Next up, guys, we have Darth Malgus, and this guy was one of the coolest Conquest characters when he was first announced and released. I was so excited to get him, and when I unlocked him, I impulsed and applied all 3 Omicrons to him. And in hindsight, I didn't really need to have to do that. The only one you want to worry about with him is his leadership, which really just adds a crazy number of stats to his team with speed and crit avoidance. He's able to take out so much on offense. He was at one point really strong on defense until Jedi Knight Cal Kestis came out. You almost needed a Galactic Legend. General Skywalker was not a guaranteed win. With all that crit avoidance, General Skywalker has a really hard time being able to crit him and get that damage and increase his cooldown. So If you guys have Malgus unlocked, apply it on the leadership right away. You will never be disappointed with it. He will follow you throughout your whole journey in Grand Arena, all the way up to Kyber 1. Absolutely an essential character, and I highly recommend applying this Omicron. Next up, we have Taran Malicos, and this guy is one of my favorite characters in the game. I absolutely loved him in Fallen Order. I thought he was such a cool character with his lore and everything like that. But regardless, his Omicrons, I'm going to put 2 on the list because I think they're both so helpful. But the first one I applied was Strength and Power, which is what applies the critical hit immunity, makes the team really hard to get down. They get a bunch of max health and mastery. Just such a strong Omicron. It just changes the unaligned force user team. Highly recommended. And then you have Echoes of the Fallen Order, which is the second Omicron that I'm going to be recommending. It allows for enemies to be defeated from throughout the whole battle to be not revivable, which is super helpful against teams like Night Sister, against Ben solo with Rey, Reva with her revivability. Just really helps in the damage immunity, the bonus turn. Just such a strong ability, and he's so fun to use. Absolutely so fun to use on offense. Could be a pain to take out on defense if you set up the right tank with Kylo Ren unmasked. When you get this guy unlocked, highly recommending applying both Omicrons, but if you can adjust for the one, I would use Strength as Power. Absolutely love this character. Next up, guys, we have Reva, and Reva is definitely a hard character to obtain. It's going to take a long time for players to unlock her, but once you get her, her leadership, guys, is game-changing with applying Death Mark to the enemy. You're able to take out a number of galactic legends with Kenobi, sometimes Jabba, Leia. Just such a good character, and the leadership Omicron just makes her even more crazy. Highly recommended. The other ones are not by any means essential. Those are also very luxury. If you guys have a lot of Omicrons lying around and you love this character, go right ahead, but by no means do you need to apply them. But when you unlock her, I would 100% recommend applying that leadership Omicron. Just makes the team even more insane to get through on defense, and just takes out so many teams on offense. Without a doubt, one of the best Omicrons in the game. Alright guys, next up on the list I have Ben Solo, and I'm going to go with his unique Force Dyad. Now, the only reason to apply this is if you have Galactic Legend Rey. Otherwise, you're not going to want to have to apply it. If you have Rey unlocked, this changes the team dramatically. The amount of times I have failed in Grand Arena to Rey is more than any other team I've ever failed to. This unique ability where he gets revived after, if Rey is still around and the leadership, someone with the leader in the leader slot takes a turn, he's going to keep reviving. This makes Rey one of the most annoying teams on defense in Grand Arena. Again, I have lost so many times to Rey just because of this duo right here. People think Rey is a very bad Galactic Legend. I definitely don't agree with that. I think she is one of the best in the game. She's annoying in Territory War, she's annoying in Grand Arena, and I highly recommend applying the Force Dyad Unique Omicron to Ben Solo. The other ones are definitely more of a luxury. I applied the first special one when Sith Eternal was able to still take out Rey. Applying the heal immunity really shut him down. So that's why I applied it for this. You apply it for 4 turns, but again, if you don't have a lot of Omicrons lying around, there's no need to apply it, but highly recommend you unlock this guy, apply Force Dyad without a doubt. Changes the team. Alright, next up guys, I have SWGOH Opress, and this guy you'll definitely be able to unlock early. He's very easy to farm, his gear is nothing crazy, and he's able to solo a lot of teams. He just completely amplifies Traya to the next level as it turns into a tank where he's constantly taking turns, and he's just so hard to kill. Even with the Starkiller team, you can do some crazy combo with Starkiller where he's in the leadership or you add another Sith. But the Unique Brute is just so strong, guys. I highly recommend applying this early on in your journey to in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Will help you get through the lower ranks of Bronzium all the way to Kyber. Still used. All the Omicrons I'm recommending are I'm still using till this day. So highly recommend applying it to SWGOH. Next up, guys, I'm going to throw in Cere Junda, and I just love the unaligned force user team, and I think that her leadership Omicron just makes it even more crazy. Gives them max health and protection, immune to ability block and daze, just gives a ton of stats. And even without Malicos, this team is very strong. You got to bring in a strong team to take it out. The leadership is just amazing. So if you guys do have an unaligned force user team, I do recommend throwing in Cere Junda. It just really drives the team up. So highly recommend, and let's go to the next one. Alright, next up on my list I have Bo-Katan Mandalore, and the reason why I'm recommending Bo's leadership is because this allows me to take out Galactic Legends in Grand Arena. So her leadership allows for a Mando to get revived if someone does get killed, and that is super helpful against Galactic Legend Kenobi, where Cat will kill someone and you'll instantly get a revive. This has saved me in Grand Arena, where I can not have to use a GL against Kenobi. I can use my bow, and I just think it really amplifies the team on offense. The team is still good in other game modes, but I do think if you're going to go invest into an epic confrontation character with the high relics, the high Chirotech, I do think you should apply at least the leadership Omicron. I think it makes it really strong, and I highly recommend it. The other two are definitely more of a luxury. I did end up applying for Mandalore because I did want to be able to ignore taunt during her turn. It is helpful against certain teams, especially with the crazy Datacron set that we just went with Jar Jar. I was able to beat Jar Jar with Bo-Katan because of this Omicron. But it is a luxury. You don't need it unless you have Omicrons lying around. But today, I'm going to say that her leadership is a very good Omicron. Next up, guys, I know she's not very easily accessible at the moment because she's brand new, but I'm going to be recommending Queen Amidala's Unique. It just completely amplifies the team to dramatic increase. You get crit damage, you're 40% mastery, you're immune to fear and healing immunity. You get some damage over time and healing over time. The Handmaiden is already starting out. This is an Omicron you're not going to regret. It just, you've invested very hard in a Conquest tune, and this just completely amplifies the team. I definitely recommend applying it, especially if you have Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan and relics. You're going to need them for the raid anyway, but very strong. The next two are more of a luxury. I did apply the second one because of the cooldown increase. I think that is very annoying for certain teams to get through. I have lost to it just because of this Omicron being applied. It's definitely not a super essential one. It's more of an annoying one. So if you do have one that's lying around and you want to apply, absolutely you can do it, but not by any means essential. And the leadership is kind of lackluster. It definitely can help in some situations, but by no means is it going to crazily impact this team. So I'm going to recommend her Unique as an essential Omicron. Okay guys, so the last one on my list before I get to some honorable mentions is going to be Bane. My god, Bane is probably the best non-galactic legend characters in the game, and you'd be crazy for not to apply the Unique. This is just insane, guys. I'm able to take out Galactic Legends. I'm able to take out OP Datacrons that I have no business beating. This guy is absolutely nuts. You need to apply this as soon as you unlock him. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This guy is the best in the game, and this Omicron is probably one of the best you can unlock. Highly recommend the Unique once you unlock him. The other two are more of a luxury. They are helpful. I'm trying to spare my Omicrons because just in case of future tunes coming out. But the second one is just gaining more ultimate charge for Sith Eternal, and I'm not even using him with Sith Eternal. I'm using him on his own, so I don't think that's very necessary. This one, the second special where he's increasing cooldowns, is extremely helpful in certain situations. I just want to be able to save some of my Omicrons for other abilities, but you're not going to go wrong with applying it. It's just by no means an essential Omicron. If you have some sparing around and you love this character, by all means apply it, but you're not going to be missing out on the main purpose of Bane. So that is going to be my essential Omicron list, and now I'm going to go through some honorable mentions that was useful for me in the early game, but I'm not really finding very useful for the later game. And starting with the first honorable mention, I'm going to say Admiral Raddus. I did find a lot of use from him when I did unlock it, but I'm not really finding a lot later on in Kyber 1. In 5v5, I'm pairing him with Leia a lot of the time, as with Jinn Urso, so I can do a little bit of cheese where Jinn doesn't go down when Raddus is alive. But at the time, it was very strong. I'm just not really finding a use for it now in High Kyber 1. So if you guys are early game and you want to get through some teams like Iden or sometimes Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, if it doesn't have a crazy Datacron, this could work really well for you. But I'm going to say in the top end of Kyber 1, I'm not really using him that often. So that's why I'm going to put him on the honorable mentions list. And yeah, so let's go to the next one. Next up on my honorable mentions list, I'm going to say Iden Versio. And again, when I first applied it, this was a game-changing Omicron where I was able to take out Rebel fighters. I could take out CLS. Very, very good for early, mid, and borderline late game. But once you get into that higher division of Kyber 1, I have not really had a use for Iden Versio's leadership Omicron. That's why I'm putting her in the honorable mentions. Again, you're going to find use for it early game, you're going to find use for it mid game, but as soon as you get to the very late game, it's going to fall off a little bit. Not a lot of teams that Iden can take out. I haven't seen a Mon Mothma team on defense in a long time, but that could change with the new Conquest character coming out. But that's why she's on the honorable mention list. Alright guys, and the last one on the honorable mentions list, this might be a little bit controversial because I know he can be very good, but I'm going to put Wampa on the honorable mentions list. And the reason why is because I find it very, very hard to find a team for Wampa to solo in 5v5 or even sometimes 3v3. In the early game, mid game, this character is a beast. Absolute beast. You're going to find use for him. But once you get to that later game, he's going to fall off quite a bit. There's just not a lot of players that are going to place teams that can be Wampa. If you place a team in Kyber 1 that is Wampa-able, it's not a good team. So that's why I'm putting Wampa on the honorable mentions list. He can be good, but once you get to that tippy top, he's going to fall off. But that is going to be it for this Grand Arena Omicron video. I hope you guys did enjoy it, and please leave comments below if you agree, if you don't agree, if I should add something to the list, if you remove something from the list. I'm very curious about your opinion, and if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to become a Knight of X, and I will see you guys next week for Grand Arena. May the Force be with you.